If you have an 800 credit score, congratulations, banks love you. Not because you're wealthy, but because you're predictable, profitable, and trained to borrow. In this video, I'm going to break down what your credit score actually measures, why the system rewards lifelong debt behavior, and what to focus on instead if you want real wealth. Quick disclaimer, this is educational, not financial advice. Here is why this matters. A credit score is treated like a report card for adulthood. People brag about it, they stress about it, they chase it, and meanwhile their bank account is empty. So today we're going to pull the mask off the credit score, and you'll see why a high score can exist alongside a broke life. From around age 18, you're trained like a dog to chase a number. Pay your bills on time, keep your balances low, open accounts, build history, don't close the old card. And if you do all that, you get rewarded with the Holy Grail. An 800 credit score. But have you ever asked who is rewarding you and why? Meet Henry, high score Henry. Henry's at a dinner party and someone brings up interest rates. Henry smiles like he's been waiting for this moment. Yeah, I just hit 815, he says. I can finance anything. He pulls out a platinum card and pays for dinner like he's the CEO of money. But as he swipes, invisible chains snap onto his wrists. Then we zoom into his phone. He's got a net worth tracker. Net worth, negative $40,000. High score, negative net worth. Henry isn't a financial genius. He's a professional debtor. And that's why banks love him. Here's the core concept. Your credit score is not a how rich are you score. It's a how reliably can we profit from you score. It was built for lenders by lenders to predict whether you'll pay them back. That sounds reasonable until you realize what it rewards. It doesn't care if you have a paid-off car, zero debt, and a pile of cash. It cares whether you use debt regularly and repay it predictably. If credit scores measured wealth, millionaires would automatically have perfect scores. But they don't. Here's the paradox that breaks the spell. You can have $1 million in the bank, no loans, no credit cards, and be unscorable. No meaningful score. And you can be broke, carrying $50,000 in credit card debt, making minimum payments like clockwork, and have a 750. Because the score isn't measuring wealth, it's measuring repayment behavior. Picture two people. Person A, no debt, cash buyer. Score might be NA, result, the bank makes 0. Person B, car loan, mortgage, 3 credit cards. Score is 800. Result, the bank makes tens of thousands in interest over time. That's the game. An 800 score isn't a trophy, it's a yield rating for the bank. And once you see it like that, you start asking a different question. Not, how do I get the score higher? But how do I build net worth, assets minus liabilities, so I don't need to care what a lender thinks? Now let's talk about how they keep you playing, because the system is designed to reward engagement, not freedom. First trap, utilization. To get a great score, you need credit utilization, meaning you need to use credit. You have to borrow money to prove you can borrow money. And if you stop borrowing, your score can drop. If you pay off loans, your score can change. If you close accounts, your score can drop. So the system rewards you for staying in the game forever. Here's what that looks like in normal life. You have a credit card with a $10,000 limit. You spend $3,000. That's 30% utilization. Then you start doing score gymnastics. You pay early before the statement closes. You keep the card open even though it tempts you. You open another card to increase available credit. You micromanage a scoreboard. You're not building wealth, you're managing optics. Imagine a weight loss program that penalizes you for losing too much weight. That's the credit system. Now, I'm not saying a credit score is useless. It can help you access a mortgage, lower insurance rates in some places, and better loan terms when you truly need to borrow. But you should use it like a speedometer, glance at it sometimes, don't worship it. Because the person with the highest score isn't always the healthiest financially. They're often just the most optimized borrower. Second trap, credit mix. A portion of your score rewards you for having multiple types of debt. Credit cards, auto loans, student loans, mortgages, personal loans. So yes, the system literally gives you points for diversifying your shackles. And the mistake people make is taking on debt they don't need to build credit. They finance a car they could have bought in cash just to keep an installment loan on their report. They carry a balance because they think it helps. They keep old accounts open forever because the score likes history. Let's make that concrete. Two people want a $20,000 car. Person 1 buys it cash. Person 2 finances it for 5 years at, say, 7% APR. The finance person might get credit points from paying on time, but they also pay thousands in interest to earn those points. That's like paying money for gold stars. Never pay interest for your credit score. If you borrow because it improves your life in a real way, not because it improves a number designed to rate you as a borrower. Because you can't retire on a credit mix, you can retire on assets. Third trap, the points and 0% leverage illusion. This is where people say, "Steve, I beat the system. I use points for free travel. I do 0% APR and invest the cash. I never pay interest." Some people do it perfectly, but most people don't. For every 1 points ninja who pays in full, never misses, never overspends, and treats credit like a debit card, there are 99 people paying 18%, 24%, 29% interest, plus late fees, plus penalties. The banks aren't stupid. They don't lose money on rewards programs. They fund the free flight with your neighbor's interest. Don't play in a casino where the house owns the building. Here's a simple example. If you earned $600 worth of points this year, but you carried a balance and paid $900 in interest, you didn't hack anything. You paid $900 to feel like you saved $600. Even if you never pay interest, points can nudge spending up. It's fine, I'll get points. That's how budgets quietly break without you noticing. So if you use credit cards, the only rule that matters is this: you never carry a balance and never pay interest. If you can't do that consistently, the game isn't worth playing. Now here's the surprising truth that ties everything together. An 800 credit score doesn't prove you're wealthy. It proves you're safe to lend to and profitable to service. So if you're chasing 800 while your net worth is flat, you're sprinting on the wrong treadmill. Real wealth is boring. It's spending less than you earn, building a cash buffer, investing consistently in diversified assets that fit your time horizon and risk tolerance, and keeping liabilities from eating your future. Now let's prove it with a quick story. Two people, 10 years, same economy. First, chasing Chad. Chad is obsessed with an 820 score. He leases a luxury car to keep the mix. He takes a bigger mortgage than he can comfortably afford to build history. He puts everything on credit cards to earn points. He's always borrowing, always optimizing, always managing the score. His score stays high, but his life is fragile. Second, zero Zach. Zach is unscorable. Maybe he has no score or a thin file. He pays cash for a used car. He rents cheap while building savings. He invests a big portion of his income in a diversified way, long-term, consistent. He keeps fixed expenses low, builds an emergency fund, and avoids payments. Now year 10. A recession hits, or Chad loses his job. Something normal happens because life is life. Chad can't make the payments, and the score tanks overnight because the score was never wealth. It was a reflection of active borrowing and timely repayment. Stress explodes. Meanwhile, Zach loses his job too, and he's annoyed, sure, but he's not panicked. Because Zach has, say, $200,000 in liquid cash and investments as an example, and he has no payments crushing him every month. He sleeps like a baby. Chad relied on a score, Zach relied on cash and assets. One looks good to a bank, the other is actually financially strong. And that's the main message, said plainly. Banks love your 800 score because it signals profitable behavior. You should love your net worth because it signals freedom. Let's wrap this up. An 800 score means the bank loves you, not that you're rich. The system can penalize you for paying off debt and closing accounts because the system wants you participating. Real wealth isn't credit worthiness. Real wealth is net worth, assets minus liabilities, plus liquidity, plus low fixed obligations. You can't eat a credit score. You can't retire on a credit score, and a credit score won't protect you when income stops. Stop chasing a number that exists to help banks lend to you. Start building the kind of financial life where you don't need to borrow except by choice, where you can say no to bad deals, and where the score becomes background noise. If you want to know how buying a house can work without a traditional credit score, drop a comment below and tell me what you're trying to buy next. A car, a home, or just peace of mind.